your big ass for Sasha. It's the Science Fiction Rating System podcast. The podcast.
It's still funny. I found it funny twice.
the podcast that aims to rank every science fiction film from 1 to infinity. My name's Sam Draper, and those two chuckleheads are Chris Redding.
Hello.
And Alex Overy.
Hi there.
How is everyone today?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
just
a rare
recovering from my international excursions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Filling
back
this time.
again.
Yeah.
Another business trip.
Yeah. HMRC.
It was science fiction related though, because it was your science
It was,
fiction
yes.
short
That's
film
true, yeah.
We
in
went
a
to
science fiction festival, wasn't
Berlin Sci-Fi Film Fest.
Did you see any other good films there?
I saw a good one it was a documentary. It was about some guy who's rebuilding the original time machine from the Time Machine.
All right.
Oh.
And he's building it to like extreme standards of mentalness with all the components and stuff. That was quite interesting because it was kind of blurring reality, and because he was talking about how it took him back in time to when he first saw the film and all that sort of shit. So it was well made. It was good.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you know what it was called?
It was called. I will find out the title for you.
Cool.
It was something like Men Who Build Time Machines or something like that.
Well, sounds about right.
Come back to me.
Okay.
What was the big film everyone was excited about at the festival, apart from yours?
I couldn't say. I mean, obviously I'm focused on mine, so I don't want to.
Yeah, you can't nail your allegiance to any other mass, can you? Really?
It's true.
Yeah, I don't want to
enough.
give anyone else any credit. Basically,
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Alex, how have you spent your time since the last podcast? Anything exciting?
Been at
happening?
work, preparing for my son's birthday, which is tomorrow. So
Nice.
That's been good. Yeah, getting ready for the party.
What's he got? What's his present?
He's got a pretty cool robot actually that you feed little chips to, and it tells you letters and numbers and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Like oven chips.
No, like the little computer chips.
That's less good.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
A robot that ate chips, or a robot that ate leftovers. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Just any sort of crap.
A robot that ate chips and then shit chips, like electronic chips, after you fed it crisps.
Yeah. I'll see if that's available in Argos. I don't think it
That
is.
would be useful.
I'd rather it ate electronic ones and then shit. Edible
actually,
ones. Yeah.
Feed it all your old shit.
Yeah.
It's a bit like batteries not included.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was called How to Build a Time Machine. Check it out. It's a Canadian film.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we did enough stalling for time there. Let's get on to the main things. So, this week we're watching what did I call it on the thing? The Roland Emmerich Axis of Mass Destruction, which were three films. Three Roland Emmerich films, but Dean Devlin's involved with two, and his DNA is definitely there in the third. A 90s production direction powerhouse. So we've got Stargate, Independence Day, and 2012. Three long films.
Yeah, hell long.
That's what I come out of this with. So we're going to go chronologically. It's worth mentioning as well, we did review Independence Day once before, but we hadn't rewatched it at that point. So
It was like the pilot, wasn't it?
it was the pilot, yeah, so it's coming back in. So if you're shouting at the screen at home, pay attention. Okay. Right, so Stargate. Where should we start? Alex.
Well, I'll start on Stargate. I remember seeing this a long time ago, and I remember thinking it was good. And rewatching it, I did still think it. I think ultimately, in the very simplest terms, it's basically just a mashup, isn't it, of that kind of like, white people go to a foreign land and help them out. That kind of great white hope type. We help out the savages and we've saved everyone. It's a mashup of that, kind of mashed with a sci-fi element to it. Mm-hmm. And I think that the basic, as a kind of high concept, like, it's Egypt stuff, but in space, I think that totally works. I think that Kurt Russell and James Spader being in it helps a lot, because I think they're very good actors who kind of flesh out very cardboard, 2D characters. And I think their weight as actors fleshes it out. And I think Jay Davison is quite good as Ra. I think it's a bit of a different villain that you normally see. I quite liked the uncomfortable kind of androgynous child slaveness to it. I quite liked that. It was a bit weird in a blockbuster, but I quite liked how weird and uncomfortable it was. But overall, it's rubbish. But I actually found it's entertaining rubbish. I was caught up in it. It was long, but it went. I wasn't kind of really finding it difficult. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I think I'm with you in that it's rubbish, but it was at least a different brand of rubbish to the other bits of rubbish we watched this week. It was a sort of a bit unique rubbish.
The design of I like the idea of, the Egyptian gods are actually it's their space suits and stuff, and the idea of Ra as like a kind of vampire character.
I don't know, man. It's pretty silly, isn't it? When you think about it.
It's silly, but it's kind of, it was fun silly, I thought,
for me, I think Stargate is a good one-line synopsis of a film, Egyptian science fiction shit. Chris, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was rubbish, but there's some good bits to it. I like the music's very good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Really good soundtrack.
The way these guys, the opening to these three films, the way they sort of build the world, like the realisation of an incredible thing. So it's done really well in Independence Day. It's done really well in this, where you just get like little bits of information.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of done well in this. I just like their style of how they naturalistically explain something weird.
Don't you think though that they're just copying Spielberg? Like they're just trying to make a Close Encounters or a Jurassic Park kind of thing, aren't they?
Yeah. But that's not a bad thing.
It is when you're not Spielberg though. It's not as competent, is it? And I mean, like James Spader is basically playing Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which is weird.
It's there were some very strange things, like all the the other army guys in there. Yeah. They've got some terrible lines at the beginning. When they're all just having a go at him at the beginning, like they're just like for no reason completely like lash out and throw a box at him.
Yeah,
and it's like they've only been there 5 minutes. Yeah, and they're all, and these are supposed to be Navy SEALs or whatever, and they're freaking out.
Yeah.
Scientifically, it's garbage. Like I don't, you get to this Area 51 place, and then they've got this like machine already turned on, like plugged in.
Yeah.
It's spinning round.
Yeah, they tried it out a few times, didn't they? But we only get to like 6 things.
Even his explanation where he goes, you need 6 points to make in 3-dimensional. That's rubbish. You need 3 points in 3-dimensional space.
But they're like, we don't know how to work this, but we've worked out how to power it, despite the fact it's a completely alien piece of technology.
Yeah.
This is all completely done.
Yeah, we've got it turning round, and we've got it like locking in.
Yeah.
And what we haven't thought of is doing it multiple amount of times and trying every
sequence.
Because there's only about 20 on there.
I know, yes, it's a bit silly.
Then what else have I got written down here? Oh yeah, so the introduction of Kurt Russell's character, where they just go and get him from his house and he's there with long hair
and a gun,
and he's got a gun. He's sitting there with a gun, and then he just slides it underneath a pillow.
Yeah,
and then when the car leaves, they go, "How did he get in that situation?" He goes, "His son accidentally shot himself." I go, "That's because he's leaving fucking guns lying around." Like, is under a pillow is acceptable way of storing a gun.
Yeah. To that point, Chris, when I finished this film, I wrote down one line what this film's about. I've written down Stargate, a film in which Kurt Russell gets over his kids accidentally shooting himself by weaponising an entire civilization worth of children. Because that's basically what he's doing, is it?
Yeah.
When he gets all those kids to come and fight back, it's like, have you not learnt your lesson here?
No, he has a few moments where he's like, no, don't touch that. And he's like, no, go on.
There's no conversation as far as when they're going into the Stargate the first time. He's got his machine gun, and everyone's got. There's no explanation. There's no one just says why we're doing it this way. It's just right. In any other sort of film like this, they'd at least go, should we be going in with weapons?
Well, also when they reveal that the whole point of Kurt Russell going is that it's a suicide mission.
Yeah.
Why is it a suicide mission? Because they don't know that the Egyptians are bad, do they?
No, they don't know what's on the other side.
No.
They're just taking a bit of a punt, a depressing punt that it's going to be terrible. And
They've just assumed they're bound to want to kill us.
I don't know. I could probably understand that they've got that like fallback scenario, but it's just they just flick to that too quickly. Like it's just that should be right at the end. You know, like in Armageddon where they've got the bomb. Like it should be like that's the thing that we find out right at the end if things are about to go wrong. Not like it shouldn't be setting up like as soon as they get there.
Yeah, and also it's silly because he says you were all meant to go back through the gate and I'm supposed to stay here on my own and blow it up. But then why didn't he leave the bomb on the other side, hop over and go, oh yeah, shit's bad over there, I better get that bomb and go back on my own.
He's got a timer, hasn't he? Because there's a timer right at the end of the film.
Yeah, he does have a timer, It's just a bit
I was
rubbish.
thinking that, like what's going on there?
And I don't understand how you can't dial, you know how they can't open up the Stargate from us and come back through it. I don't understand how. Because that would suggest that it's a one-way wormhole type thing.
Yeah.
Right? But they've sent a probe which transmits data back to us, which means it's not a one-way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't think it's worth thinking about it too much. Is it?
And you know when it goes through, and then there's so first of all, right, the guy's there, the long-haired guy's there to figure out that it's not symbology; it's like star constellations.
Yeah.
No one's thought it's star constellations before that, right? He's turned up and told them, right?
Yeah,
2 years, right? He tells them, they lift the screen up and then they go into like the Area 51 place and they've actually got a Starfield machine already set up there. So when it turns on, this thing goes and finds the star where it's going to. It goes, well, they did know it was stars then, didn't they? Because they built this whole like star map. Doesn't make any sense.
Also, don't they know it's called the Stargate?
Well, it's like a doorway to heaven or something, wasn't it?
But I'm sure they refer to it as a Stargate.
That's just semantics, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just the name of it, I guess. Yeah.
I've got a couple of points in its defence as we're just slagging it off.
Music.
The music's amazing.
Music's really good. Yeah. I think the last shot, I love it. Just going for the wormhole effect and ending. That's a nice sort of final end of film. No 12 epilogues and things going on.
Yeah.
And like you said, Alex, I think that Jai Davidson, is that his name?
Yeah, Jay Davidson.
I thought he was good.
You know where he's from? Do you know where he's from?
No.
Yeah. So you remember when we saw the trailer and his name came up, and I said, "Am I supposed to know who that is?"
Yes. Yeah.
It's because he was in the Crying Game. He's the man. Well, spoilers. He's the man. Girl from the Crying Game. And do you know what? He was reluctant to take this role. He didn't want to turn it down, so he made an unexpected and a ridiculous demand on how much he wanted. He said he wanted $1 million to play Ra, and they just went, yeah, sure, you can have $1 million. And also, he refused to take out his nipple rings, so all wardrobe and cinematography had to work around his nipple rings. So,
I like his attitude.
Yeah, but I think after this, he made a short, and he's never worked again. So I think he was quite a reluctant actor, basically.
Right.
But yeah, he's good, and it's kind of an interesting take.
For a film that big, to have a character that kind of, as you say, androgynous is quite a brave thing in a way.
And also just like you said,
alien,
Yeah. You're saying about Spader. James Spader said, "Acting for me is a passion, but it's also a job, and I've always approached it as such. I have a certain manual, laborious view of acting. There's no shame in taking a film because you need some fucking money." And that's basically what he said about this. He said he thought the script was awful, but he needed the money, so...
I think he plays it very well. I think he does a good job. He does,
He does, but he is just impersonating Jeff Goldblum, isn't he? That's my problem with it. Like, I thought, I'm really enjoying this role, and then I thought it's because basically he's just playing Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum with allergies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know.
When they get there to the Area 51 place, and there's the older woman who has got the necklace thing.
Yeah, from the beginning.
Yeah. And then they've got there's another woman who's very much like the woman out of Andromeda Strain.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
The same attitude and everything, like with smoking and all that. It's quite good.
There's a lot of smoking in this film. There's a hell of a lot of smoking, isn't there?
There is. I wish that her character and the Jewish guy it's Larry David's cousin, isn't it? I can't remember
he's great
his name
as
is.
well.
Yeah. Their two characters I thought should be more. They should have cut back to them, I think, a few times. I quite enjoyed them.
It should have been like how they are fighting against the the military more. Like at the end, they're trying to stop the military doing what they want to do.
Yeah,
they're fighting at the home. Fighting at home against the military. That's what it should be.
They just felt to me like scruffier, like 80s, 70s sci-fi characters rather than the more in the films we're going to watch. I prefer that to what we're going to get into the later films, where it's all everyone's going to look perfect, stuff like that. You don't really get that sort of role anymore, do you?
But I didn't buy them as true scientists because of that. No,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Do you know that it's not? It wasn't. There's a huge court case about the writing of this film. Did you know that?
No.
High school teacher Omar Zudi claimed in 1995 copyright infringement lawsuit that virtually the entire film was stolen from a manuscript he began writing as a college student, and he even had an Egyptology professor from a university vouch for him. It says he alleged that Studio Canal acquired a copy of his manuscript and then some years later hired Emmerich and Devlin to make Stargate. Studio Canal and MGM. The case was settled out of court for $50,000, and the guy published a novel called Egyptscape based on his manuscript. So maybe they didn't even make up the story, which is a bit annoying because it's the like you said, the idea is the best.
I could believe it though. Like looking at the rest of their output.
So what happens in all the TV series? Do they just go to different planets and stuff?
I forgot to look that up because I'm pretty sure, like I said before, that those two main characters are the same characters but played by other people.
But recast.
But I forgot to look that up. But I think But you said they're going to bring it back, didn't you, Sam?
I've since read though that's not happening, or it is and it isn't. I think if Independence Day Resurgence had done better, it would have happened. But because that was a flop, it's kind of not going to be a thing now.
That's a pity.
Well, it's not, is it? It's crap. I don't mind not making another one, but
no. My favourite bit, by the way, was when the Ra comes the first time and those soldiers are left in the pyramid and they cock their guns like more times than there's guns. They're just cocking their guns like every 3 seconds.
Corner.
It's just like, put another one in, it'll make it sound tense. Put another one in, like it's really that was probably one.
Considering they're supposed to be the elite, they're a shit show.
It's the guy from Third Rock from the Sun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, the guy that was the kind of one. He was one of the main. I think he survived. He's called French Stewart. It's the guy that's the communication with the doesn't really open his eyes.
Oh, right. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, he was one of the.
he was one of the Harry.
Oh, I recognised him. Yeah, my favourite bit of it, which was probably because I watched all three of these back to back, and it's the last one I watched. I was going to be delirious. But was the,
oh my god!
There's a repeated effect shot of when the ships fly out of the pyramids. It happens once, and then the exact same shot happens again about an hour later. And for some reason, I loved it. I was like, "This is brilliant. This is the most terrible." You should have caught this in editing, or at least just I don't know,
reversed it,
done something to it,
flop it.
Yeah, totally. Just flip the image over, but I don't know. Anyway, right. Well, that's the end of that one. It was crap. The theme that we're going to come to again this week.
I'm glad you. For some reason I thought you two would be into this shit.
No, I enjoyed it, but on a crap level.
It's to be honest, I was giving it more of a chance than I thought, because I'd watched the other two and they were so bad, and I thought, well, I'll give it a real chance. And when the music's all going and they go over the sand dune at the start and they go down to civilization and they sort of go and meet the locals for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this might be something, and then it just lost it straight away, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh well. Right, let's rank it, shall we? So there's 57 films on the list, which we've not looked at for a while.
No.
Alex, you can go first again. Where would you put Stargate here?
I'm saying around 32.
Oh, wow. So that's Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, it's in the Edge of Tomorrow.
It's always Edge of Tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the Edge of Tomorrow Valley, like in that, as Chris so brilliant, said, it's just kind of like a dump down the middle there, where it's like, it was all right, but it wasn't bad enough to make me angry, but it wasn't good enough to get anywhere near the top. So okay.
For me, that's too high. I'd say 40. One above Safe Not Guaranteed, one below Ender's Game, I think. Chris?
What, you're going to say 40 or 41?
40, I think.
40. There's some good bits to it, but I mean, it's there's some shit in the middle here, which I think should be a lot lower anyway. I don't know, something like 40-ish is good. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna argue over Stargate. It doesn't inspire me.
I have to say I enjoyed it better than Safety Not Guaranteed. Mission to Mars I thought was better. So probably 42 actually. I think Mission to Mars has got more about it.
I think Mission to Mars, it's that we keep coming back to that, don't we? Because that film has got a lot of potential in it, hasn't it? I think unrealised potential, which is why I think we keep thinking about it. But I think
there isn't much potential in Stargate. It is pretty much.
But there's more actually on the screen, isn't there? Like Mission to Mars is a deeply, deeply flawed film. I thought this is just not a very good film. It's a competent film, isn't it? But all right. What would you say? You said 32, didn't you?
Yeah, but I'm happy to go lower. I'm not precious about that. I'm happy to get down there in 40.
Well, should we say 39 then? Because that's above Ender's Game, and that was awful.
Okay. Okay, he said through gritted teeth because he loves Ender's Game.
What about 36? Because Flash Gordon and Space Balls are fucking bollocks compared to this.
But I think I'd rather watch both those films again than watch Stargate.
Flash Gordon was quite fun, actually.
At least they're a bit different. This is just a really boring, generic sort of. In fact, I think it should be lower now. I'm talking myself further down there. It reminds me a bit of Serenity in that kind of just by the numbers should be a TV movie sort of thing.
Maybe, yeah. It's quite televisual.
Yeah. So maybe 45.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
Slip right down. I'm happy with that. I'm not, like I say, it's not.
Maybe 44, because My Stepmother's an Alien's pretty bad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did you say 44?
Yeah. Do that.
Yeah. Okay, let's lock it in.
Poor Stargate got a last little drop there.
It did.
I thought it was saved.
Poor Stargate, but I'm going to leave a little cliffhanger as we go into the break. I'm just going to say that for me, this is the best of the 3 films we watched this week.
Go away.
Ooh.
And go to the break.
You are joking.
I'm just going to go get myself a drink. A dry mouth. I'll leave you to stew on that one. Back in a second.
You've been drinking by the sounds of it.
I've got stuff, don't worry.
Oh, God.
Right. And we're back. Let's just come straight back because we're on to the main course now of the podcast. So, long-time listeners will remember in week 1, we reviewed Independence Day, and there was some disagreement about where it belonged in the list.
But we only had 3 things in those early heady days.
Yeah, but it just went down, didn't it? For quite a while.
Unfortunately, it did.
I think if it was still on the list, it'd be around, I think, low 20s right now, I think. If we'd have kept it on.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Right, so the main source of disagreement was Chris loves it, and what do you think about Alex?
I'll tell you what, you used to love it.
I used to love it, yes, right.
You even had that T-shirt with a bit of cardboard on it, do you remember?
I did, yeah.
We both had the VHS with the hologram. And
I did, I absolutely loved it. I had the game, I loved it.
We both, right, so great. Go on.
The way we're going to do this, I think, Alex, you let us know first of all what you like about it, right?
Okay, well,
and I think we should have me and Chris can have a little bit of uninterrupted time to get our manifesto out. Okay,
right. I think that's fair. Okay. Well, so I haven't seen this for a very long time, and I think that was the issue when we did it in that first show. So I just was remembering it. You know how I remembered it was. You just remember the big bits, don't you? You remember the monuments blowing up, and I remember my favourite scene is still my favourite scene, which is the bit where the alien takes over Brett Spinner. I think that's still brilliantly done, and that stayed with me. Pretty much the whole of that stayed with me, and I still think that looked brilliant.
Yeah.
So, and I would say watching it again, and I think this, like you said, this will come back up because we are going to talk about 2012. But I think that the way it's laid out, like Chris said, it's very procedural. You know, you've got these 3 days, which is 3 chapters basically of the film, and I think it delivers. It's a new way of doing a blockbuster, a new way of doing a disaster film, and I think as a blueprint, it delivers brilliantly what it sets out to do. I think that because it just focuses on America, It doesn't try and take in the world. It doesn't try and take in whatever. It just goes, right, we're in America. This is what's happened. Here's the 3 days. It's like...
I mean, it does take in the world. Sorry.
It does take in the world, but not as much as other films try and do that we're about to talk about after this. And I think it works. I think all those disparate characters, they all come together well. I think that the characters are badly drawn, but the actors are good enough to kind of skate over that. I think the effects look brilliant still. I think there's still a good level of kind of like just spectacle at seeing all that. And, it rips off all of the worlds because all it is a computer virus instead of a real virus. But you know what? It entertained me and I enjoyed it. And I think it's a good film. And I think for the fact of how it changed the game, for better or worse, I think it's a very important film because I do think it changed cinema, and especially science fiction and blockbuster cinema. It changed that. And I'm more about the importance of a film. So,
right.
Yeah. That's my opinion.
Agree with everything you say. What's Sam got to say then?
Well, you haven't got anything else to add to that, Chris?
He covered pretty much everything. I mean, I want to hear what you got to say before I.
All right, okay.
I'd rather respond.
Okay, so let me just have a little moment. Yeah. So you said that we liked this when we were kids, and we did. I loved it as a kid, and when I was watching this, I realised that despite still liking science fiction and playing computer games and doing a lot of like juvenile stuff, my opinion on Independence Day and how I feel about it now convinced me that I'm actually an adult and I have changed since I was 10. Because this is an absolutely...
Sam, I'm sorry.
It's a terrible, terrible film. And Alex, you're right, this is responsible for massive changes, but it's responsible for universally bad changes to science fiction, in my opinion. Because it wasn't responsible for any sort of major revolution in effects, which is what its best thing is. That's happening anyway, regardless of Independence Day.
It was the last like practical.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't it?
So what does it bring instead? It brings, like, as you say, characters that are caricatures and are just completely unbelievable. It brings like bloat in a way that I think films are only just getting over bloat. Films are getting back down to be 2 hours long now, but for years and years we've had films that push 3 hours, and they're just, there's too much going on. I mean, the fact that you have about 10 different scenes of people like being like, oh, this, I'm doing my normal thing, but aliens. Oh, there's a beep going on. This guy who working at SETI, who apparently he's just paid to just wait for this beep. I mean, that's not going on, is it? That's not a thing.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. There isn't a guy sat in a room surrounded by consoles waiting for a beep.
Well, they have to simplify it to an audience, don't they?
Well,
they can't have SETI is actually a load of computer algorithms, and in 10 years' time, they'll figure out what we've just recorded.
No, but they could frame it in a better way, in a kind of a Close Encounters sort of way, or another film sort of way where it's not so like cartoon. And that's my point about like how I feel different about it now, because I was thinking about it in a more of a level of like, why is this Air Force pilot got a stripper wife who is like so hard done by and stuff? He's an Air Force pilot who was considered for NASA. They were earning enough for her not to be a stripper. So
maybe she wanted to make her own damn money. Don't want a man coming in telling her how to run her life. She had to be independent since whatever his name, his father left the first time round.
Okay,
how does she know Will Smith's going to stick around?
Okay, yeah, okay, right. So next point. Obviously, Jeff Goldblum's in this film, and I love Jeff Goldblum, and he's recycling and going around recycling, all this recycling sort of stuff.
Yep.
And it's all about recycling.
Ecological message.
Oh, right. So what's the ecological message of this film?
We're fucking the planet up.
How? What? In what way?
With our garbage.
And how does that make the aliens come and get us? What are the aliens actually after?
It doesn't make the aliens come and get us, but...
So what's the point of the message?
The point of the message is we don't need aliens to fuck this planet up. We are doing it ourselves. That's the message.
That's not the message. That's the message you invented. That's not in the film.
That's the meta message of what he's saying. And that's actually what they do say. They even says a line like that.
No, but you know what? Do you remember when he says that? He says that when they're about to nuke the aliens, right? He's like, he gets drunk.
Before that beat.
Okay, well, it would make no sense before anyway, but after it makes no sense because the world's already fucked. So you might as well nuke the aliens. And also, if the aliens hadn't turned up, we wouldn't be nuking into space anyway. So the recycling message doesn't exist. It's nonsense. It's like a.
But aren't the aliens like us to a nth? Like, yeah, we're wasteful, we're destroying our planet, and the aliens like even worse than us, and it's like a mirror of our.
They go from planet to planet and just take the resources.
And it's kind of shakes us. And it isn't really the message that we should all just unite. The only way the world will unite together is against something as big as this.
How does that... that doesn't work, though. That's not the message of the film. You're projecting onto the film there in a way that they would like to do.
What do you think the message is then?
There isn't one. But there's a lot of these things where they're trying to strive something more complicated than what it actually is.
If you didn't connect with the message, that's fine.
Okay. This point is borrowed from the good people at Red Letter Media now about chess. So there's a lot of references to the game of chess in this film. Checkmate, right. Mate. So in a game of chess, what you all take it in turns, take it as pieces and stuff like that, don't you? And things. What you don't do is move all your pieces all around the board without actually attacking anyone, as the aliens are doing, and then at one point go, checkmate, got you.
See, I think you're taking all this too literally.
No, because the problem is, though, because the film goes on for so long and it goes back to these points over and over again. Chess, recycling. Like, all these points, it keeps reinforcing these points to make you try and... Because what it realises is that Spielberg films work because they're not just disaster films. There's something else going on. There's some substance underneath. And normally that is a relationship drama, or a gone dad or something like that. And so they're scrabbling around for all these meanings underneath, and they'll do it again in 2012 in very sort of weird ways. And none of them work for me. And I think that's what Independence Day gave to cinema, is this like reliance on cliche and the fact that if you say something that sounds like it makes sense, we'll just accept it makes sense. Oh, now let's blow some shit up.
I'll take it's probably responsible for some of the Transformers films sort of mentality of where we'll just stick something intellectual in there as a line, and that will kind of intellectualise our whole film, but it won't.
Totally.
But I did like how this kind of stripped it back to the basics of kind of like what would happen in a war scenario where it really is just a fight. I kind of just like that. There are other themes in it, but I mean, one of them being, let's all come together.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's not a fight, is it? There's one fight at the end. The rest of the film is just not a fight. It's just a...
It is a fight, and I think it's quite realistic in that sense. Yeah. I think it's quite plausible, and it's very... it's not all... I mean, there's not stupid things happen, like, militarily. It's kind of realistic in that sense.
Name a plausible bit of this film.
I think it's quite plausible how... the military is quite useless, and how in that sense, and how organisationally how it can fall apart quite quickly, and how
they're not that
how
useless.
our systems of civilization can fall apart quite quickly, and it can all just go to shit. And I think that's quite good.
But it doesn't, does it though? Like, it doesn't really go to shit in any sort of meaningful or interesting way, does it? And like when they go up to attack. And there's that thing with Harry Connick Jr. in it, and he's all like, "Oh, hug me" and stuff, Will Smith and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
By that point, aliens have already attacked, haven't they?
But that's the first. No, that's before the first engagement, isn't it?
No, it's not. No, it's not. They've already attacked.
They've blown up all the
they've
monuments.
attacked us.
Yeah, exactly.
They've hit us, but out of the blue. We would never. I think realistically, and how it's shown, we would never be the first to. Organize, in a large scale attack.
No,
and that's what's happened. And this is the first response, and that's the learning part of it, isn't it?
Do you not think though that you're saying it's realistic that if these alien ships arrive, right, very slowly over all the big cities in the world, and level them, literally level them, so millions and millions and millions of people are dead. That you're not going to have these flyboys making jokes and all this sort of shit. And going in to fight them, it's going to be oh my god, we're absolutely fucked. The tone's completely wrong. It's all wisecracking stuff. It wouldn't be like that. It's completely wrong. And I think 2012 gets that slightly better, and it dials back the sort of I'm wisecracking Will Smith, I'm wisecracking Harry Connick Jr. they would have had
Will Smith
people...
is quite serious.
He's not really. I want to get up there and whoop E.T.'s ass, sir. You know, all that nonsense. It's not...
Well, I think you're getting mixed up between the wisecracking and just... Like, I think it's got a US military sort of vibe to it. It's.
I think that if you view it just being spectacle, as being entertaining, you know, it's dumb, it's stupid. I think it's a bit sexist, but I didn't find it offensive. I found 2012 quite offensive. I found Armageddon is offensive. There's the more modern versions of this. Actually, I think you're right in that. There are messages in there, but actually, I think with Independence Day, you can just ignore all that and just enjoy it. I think where it's gone wrong going forward is they've gone, well, no, we actually really should be pushing a message here. Especially
I like how it's stripped down, and it's kind of like an old war film.
Yeah, but it's not stripped down.
Because that's all they're focused on.
It's nearly 3 hours long, and it's just endless people talking to each other.
Doesn't matter. I love procedural.
He's a lot of the procedural stuff.
I just fucking love it. Like how they send that helicopter up with the light panels on.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, and all the naturalism of like the news and all that. I think that's the first time it's done like that, and I think it's still the best how that's done like that.
There are over 70 mock news broadcasts created for that film, and I think they work really well. I think
Arrival did it well as well.
And Starship Troopers, it's almost a bit like Starship Troopers with having that fake news in there. I think that.
I agree. Fake news is good. Yeah, I agree with that. But it's good.
But you know that whole sort of working things out, because I like also how the production design is. I think the production design is amazing, like some of the best, because the ships are very like monolithic in shape. They're not like, we don't see detail, and that is kind of like how we. Even if there was detail, we wouldn't see detail because it's so alien, if that makes sense. We'd only see circles and triangles, and it's just quite interesting how they've played with all that. I just find it quite cool.
And how the aliens communicate via a binary code transmission sent out into space. They can't actually just talk to each other to, you know, get this all lined up. Well, like, they've come all the way across space to blow us up, right? And they've got to get everything in position. And the way, you know, rather than like have like some sort of secret alien communication when they go like, right, okay, let's kill them now. They're broadcasting
that's what it is.
But they're broadcasting a decay. They've been studying our planet for years, right? So they would know that we'll understand what is, let's be honest, a pretty basic thing. It's just a number of zeros and ones that are decaying down to no zeros and ones. You don't really need Jeff Goldblum, expert MIT ecologist, to work that out.
I'm considering that if they have done this to multiple worlds, right? The chances of them getting a world at our level of even with any sort of civilization is remote. So I think that they're organised not to like fight, if that makes sense. They're organised more to just like blast a planet.
I don't know. I think at its core, it's two separate problems I've got. One is that the story is complete and utter bullshit, and the other one is this thing about the form of the film and what it did to films and what is
it's amazing
for me,
in that way.
a boring film.
Caricatures.
Yeah, exactly. It's not as bad as 2012. I'll give it that.
No.
That's just garbage.
Yeah.
The caricatures, I don't quite know what you mean about caricatures. Because the performances are good. Like, they're actually...
not bad.
Even though
They're not good. Bill Pullman is awful. He's absolutely awful.
Yeah, but just imagine like what he's got in front of him. I think he did the best that any human could do.
Oh yeah, I'm not knocking Bill Pullman. He's a fair to middling actor, but yeah, the material is the problem. He's the most cliche-ridden, you know.
But it's a ridiculous scenario. Like, I'm not sure what you want.
I read that Dean Devlin said that Jeff Goldblum, Judd Hirsch, which is his dad, and Will Smith pretty much improvised all their scenes.
Yeah, brilliant.
So that's them saving the script, I guess. If they just made it up so they went along rather than delivering. Maybe Bill Pullman should have just improvised rather than reading what he had. I don't know.
I think, Chris, when you said there, what is it I'm expecting? I think that's the problem for me, is that I just don't like this sort of film anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I can't say
don't get me wrong, I
competent...
hate Transformer type films, but I kind of see this as like, as you say, it's the first one of them, and it's not as like toxic.
It's the exception that proves the rule.
Toxic.
I think it's the exception that proves the rule. I think this is one of the best versions of these types of films. These films were going to happen anyway. Independence Day, there would have been something else that made this happen, and even if it had been amazing, they would have all still got worse as they went on, because that's what happens a lot of times when, in genres anyway, you know, someone invents, say, slasher films, and then you get a few great versions of that, and then they just get recycled until it becomes a parody, and then it loops back around again.
Yeah, but I don't think Independence Day is like the Halloween of the disaster genre. It's not a shining beacon at the start of a load of things. It's no wonder they're so bad if this is where they start from. You know, this is like, it's not on any way, like a 5-star. I get what you mean about that, but I just think it shouldn't be let off for the fact that a lot of people ripped it off a lot worse. I think it's still a bad film, despite the fact there are a lot worse films in the same...
I think the pacing's very good. I think there's every scene happens how it needs to happen.
The first half an hour could be summarised in like 2 minutes. It's just endless people turning around and going, oh shit,
it's great.
Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. You know, you don't need all those people.
It's like, it's fantastic.
It made me appreciate War of the Worlds more, and like just following Tom Cruise around, like that way of doing this sort of thing. Like,
because smaller. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's kind of a response to this, really, isn't it?
Yeah, because of the hype for this, Mars Attacks was postponed, and Spielberg temporarily cancelled his plans to direct War of the Worlds. So there may have been a War of the Worlds before the 2005 if this hadn't come out. So maybe Steven Spielberg would be the one who invented this new...
But I bet you any money, if we go into that timeline, all these films afterwards wouldn't be as bad as they are.
Oh, I don't agree. They'd just still be bad. Yeah.
They'd still be bad, but not as bad as they are. I don't know. My other fun story is that director Roland Emmerich was notified one day that Robert Loggia, who plays one of the generals, was very upset and refusing to leave his trailer. Several days earlier, producer Dean Devlin accidentally suggested to Loggia that he watch Airplane for inspiration when he actually intended to suggest Airport. Not for either film. Loggia rented Airplane, watching it, thought he'd been unknowingly participating in the production of a spoof film. So he thought he'd been filming basically a piss take film for the last few, and was just not going to come out of his trailer. And how funny is that? Like, so I guess they had to go, no, it's not. It's supposed to be serious. Don't worry. Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah.
It just shows you this was a different world.
Well,
the world was different back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's it going to go this time, though? Because it went really high last time.
Well, let's... Chris, do you want to go first?
Yeah. I would put it at number 6.
What?
Okay.
All right.
Because that is like... That's in my front bench of sci-fi films. I like it.
Yeah, okay. I can see
all right, I'll go second then, just then Alex can balance this out, because I think it's really tough, because it's not as bad as Armageddon. I think 47, so below Serenity.
Oh my God!
Below Serenity and above The Guyver.
Oh, no.
I can see, like, we're not going to have achieved anything with this. It's going to be back in, like, the 20 where
it was, yeah. Because I would genuinely want to watch all those films above that. Perhaps not Serenity, perhaps 46. Like, I don't want to ever see that film again. All right, Alex, where would you put it?
I'd put it like around, I would say like around in 15, 20.
We should have done sealed ones on this.
We should, yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, no, I'd say around 20? Like, around 15 or 20, yeah.
It's 50. It's not better than They Live.
Yeah, so can we just
better than Terminator 2?
No, right, it's not better than Terminator 2, but...
No, it's not, is it?
Look, you can't do that, because there'd be films on this list which is better and worse than it. That's not how it fucking works. You say...
All right, okay, we've got to agree on a place, haven't we?
What are we... Do you really think it's that bad, Sam? Come on.
Honestly, and maybe it's because we've been watching so many science fiction films, but like it was like borderline offensively bad in the ways that like Safe's Not Guaranteed was for me, because it was so like that fucking dog leaping out of the flames.
Yeah, that's really stupid.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And bloody Goldblum's hip sway at the end. Like, I love Goldblum's hip sway, but that whole scene is just awful, and they're smoking the cigars and stuff. It's like, oh God, this is terrible.
It's like they were just said. I just find it really interesting how they've just like made this new genre. It's a new way of doing it, and it's like it's totally God Save America.
Yeah,
and
awful.
I don't know, maybe because I've just been to America and
I've just thought,
I like to be in America. Is
Independence Day responsible for Trump?
No,
probably. It's responsible. No, Trump. No, the mentality of
they're from the same place, aren't they?
It's a different world, America.
Yeah, but the fact the chest beating in America's great in Independence Day is coming from the same place as Trump getting elected is.
No. The default in America is to swear allegiance to the flag. That is their culture. You can't say that is Trump, because it's equally Obama. It's just
but it's
their
not
culture.
But it's not as grossly in your face as Trump or Independence Day.
No. It's on a different plateau of. We would say that sort of militaristic jingoism is a truly like a right-wing thing over here. It transcends that in America.
I get that, and that's why from Aliens...
The flag is a religion there.
From Aliens all the way down, every film on this list has got that jingoism in it. It's America seeps into everything, but what Independence Day does, it shows it in a more gross and disgusting way.
I don't think it does.
No, I don't think it does at all.
It's like when they go to Little London. It's like, by Jove, they've got it, lads.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, that's like, stupid. But I think
just general. That's just that. That's they've got one chance to go to another place in the world, and they do Russia, and they do what do? They do that's actually in Iraq, isn't it? That British guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I know other films do it, but why should we let this off? Just because other things do?
Because it created something.
It's terrible though.
I think it's like an old-fashioned war film in a sense, like them World War II films. It's like fucking come on.
Yeah, I think you expected too much from it, Sam. I don't know why you expected so much. I don't know why you didn't think it wasn't going to be terrible, because I knew it was going to be terrible. I just I was entertained by it. I didn't I
think it's because I did like it so much as a kid and watch it so much. I don't know what it is. It's just something really. I don't know.
I like how it's so, it's simple how to beat the aliens, and there's a problem, and there's a way to beat it, which is, I know it's a rip-off of War of the Worlds, but it's still quite clever. I mean, that's the most scientifically implausible part of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's really stupid, but...
But again, that's because of the age. People didn't understand computers, but that seemed like a suitable way of fixing
Chris, that's
it.
Not true. People understood in the 90s that a Mac couldn't give an alien a virus. That's not a...
No, I mean, in the 90s, there was common jokes like, I don't want to catch a computer virus. That was the the level of general people. No, it was, I'm not saying they really thought they were going to catch a computer virus, but I'm saying this is the time when you couldn't even get a fucking printer to work on your computer. And there was a massive, people just weren't savvy as far as,
No, but people
computers how we are now.
To know, the people who wrote that film knew that was a stupid idea.
No, people.
Well, maybe they didn't, but people involved definitely would have known. Everyone always knew it was a ridiculous thing. I remember at the time it being a ridiculous.
What is it about being a Mac? You keep bringing the Mac thing up. I think people just thought that computer viruses could be used like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I'm looking at the list.
Yes.
To try and try and get some. So Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I have an older. That's at 27, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. I think it's better than Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
No shit.
Yeah. So I'm saying. I'm saying 26. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'll take that because that's the lowest it's going to get, isn't it? But I'm guessing
it's better than fucking War of the Worlds.
No. I don't think it is better than War of the Worlds. Because War of the Worlds for me had an emotional impact. This didn't really have any emotional impact on me. I was just entertained. It didn't.
The dog.
No, not the dog or the president's. Oh, okay. The bit when the president's wife dies. That's a bit sad, but nowhere near some of the other stuff we've watched.
And the stripper saved her. Tried to.
Yeah, I know.
Such a fucking awful film. I don't know where the words are coming out of your mouth, and yet you're saying this is the sixth best science fiction film. Oh God.
What about Goldblum's dad's good?
Yeah, he's all right.
He's all right.
He saves the whole thing.
Well, he doesn't, does he? Oh, maybe. God. I think, I'll take 26. You can't, the problem is, Chris, like Alex said about, like, those films above having, like,
fucking hurt.
An impact on us, right?
Yeah, this didn't have an impact. But,
and that's, I think if you go by that metric, it's not an impact on me, it's not an impact on Alex, so...
He was saying 48 or something, remember, Chris? He was putting it pretty low, like...
45, I thought.
45, he was saying.
I genuinely think it's the worst film than Stargate. I genuinely think that.
Mm.
But 26, because I think then it puts into the category of these are films that are whatever, and the ones above it are things that... Oh, actually, this Pacific Rim didn't affect me at all, though.
I'd take 24, because the War of the Worlds thing, I can kind of accept that. Pacific Rim is... For all the same...
That's too high. That's too high.
Yeah,
what you're saying about Pacific Rim is...
No, okay.
No,
okay,
but I agree Pacific Rim's too high, though.
Yeah, okay. We'll go higher than... Yeah, that's fine.
24?
24, then.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly where it was, but never mind. At least that proves that the system works, doesn't it? That we've come back to the exact same place.
If you didn't have such, like... If you didn't hate it so much...
Well,
I think you're an anomaly. I don't think people hate it as much as you.
I don't
really
think I am.
Hate it.
I don't think I am. What's his Rotten Tomatoes score? Let's have a look.
See, I hated the next film a lot more than I hated...
Oh, no, I definitely agree the next one's a lot worse. The next one is offensively bad.
Yeah.
One isn't even a film, it's just a load of...
Hang on, we'll get to it in a second. Let's just have a look at the Rotten Tomatoes for Independence Day. It is at 60%, so just about fresh. Well, anyway, so that's the second film. Epically done. That was the main course. We'll be back after break for hopefully a bit of a less contentious, more agreeable discussion.
Stargate.
Production design is amazing. The aliens are very well designed.
We're moving on.
Yes.
And we're coming back from the break, so I'm afraid it back in there. And yes, the debate hasn't ended, but
it's not a debate. We're just talking about.
No, it's a debate.
What's good about it, you know?
Yeah, and bad. Right, so let's get to our final film of the day, and that is 2012, another Roland Emmerich joint, but this is from a lot later now, almost 15 years later, 14 years later.
Did you see who the person that wrote it with him was?
Someone wrote this.
Harold Closer.
Yeah, who's the composer of 2012, Day After Tomorrow, and Alien vs Predator.
And the producer, he's all over this, isn't he? He's
But he's mainly a composer. That's kind of an odd to jump from composing to writing blockbuster.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start this time. So, this film's not good. But not only is it not good, it has one of the most sort of confusing and depressing messages of any film I've ever watched. In the sense that it can't decide... Well, if you've not seen it, basically it puts forward the idea that we know the apocalypse is coming for ridiculous reasons that I'm sure Chris will go into what science is nonsense there. But and that the rich are basically preparing to escape this with these big arcs, and it costs $1 billion to get on the ark, which by itself is a pretty disgusting sort of premise, isn't it? But then the film can't really decide whether it's against this or not, can it really? Or whether you're lucky to get on it or you're not lucky, or whether, you know, it's your right to be there, or there's all sorts of it's got a message. It can't work out how to tell. I found, and the way that like there's a Russian oligarch in it who is. He's sort of a hero for a lot of the film. Then he turns into a villain, and then you're meant to feel sorry for him a bit, and his kids and stuff towards the end. It feels very much like a disaster film for these times, like in the sense that inequality, the 1%, all that sort of stuff. But what it can't do is make a bold statement to say like this is wrong. You know what I mean? Did you get that from it?
Yeah, no, it's just a bunch of people whinging about how awful things are while still doing the awful thing. So all the while, like, the professor's like, the guy from Serenity, whose name we can't say, all the while he's like, oh no, what about the Chinese workers? Like, and he's still getting on the ship. Oh no, look, they're not allowed on. But he still gets on. His
what
mate...
What would happen in reality, though?
But... No, I'm not saying... I think it's all fine, it would happen, but it's...
Totally,
what is annoying is that him and Thandie Newton just spend the whole film whinging about how awful everything is. No, we should save these people, but they do fuck all about it. All they do is moan. It's like this kind of middle class, like, I'm really pro, London living wage, or I'm really pro the workers, or I'm really... And it's just do something about it then. And he's got ridiculous amounts of sway anyway. So
London living wage mentioned in it.
Yeah, I just threw some. No, it wasn't. I just threw that in as people. But I mean, just general of like people that just go, oh yeah, I'm really behind stuff. Like I'm really behind, recycling, and then they just don't do it. It's just all talk. His film is all talk, and he makes no action to actually do.
It's not even that. It's confused talk, I think, because it's sort of it. I mean, I think you definitely. Like Chris, you're right that I think this probably would happen. This is probably how it would go down. But the way they portray that. It's as though they want to make a message, they don't know what the message is, and so basically it's a bunch of rich people in LA not really understanding how to tell this idea of a story, isn't it? I think they don't know how to reconcile all of it, and then put on top of that the Independence Day idea. We've got to have all these different people doing things. How do you fit that into it?
Millions of characters and all the millions.
Well, the difference with this, right, is we can't all come together to beat this problem. That's the difference, right?
Except Africa, which apparently did. Yeah.
Well, I think they just flukily survived, didn't they? Wasn't it just?
But doesn't the end of the film say, "Oh, it turns out Africa didn't actually go underwater"?
Yeah, but it was just a fluke to do with the shifting.
Left,
but then it's kind of like, oh, so everyone was dead, and you didn't tell them about it. But if we'd all just worked a bit hard on working out what was going on, and all went to Africa, we'd be fine.
Because
they'll come out in the sun at the end of it. Oh, hooray! It's fine. Apart from the 5 billion who are dead.
All we've got now left is a load of ex-billionaires and a load of starving Africans.
Yeah, I'd love to see the sequel where like they all rock up on the shore, and the Africans are like, what are they doing? They don't know nothing's gone on. They're like, well, hang on, we live here. You can't come in here.
We weren't allowed into America before this kicked off.
Chris, what did you think? Then not a fan.
It's kind of like it's been written whilst like maybe at an office where people are just hanging around next to the water cooler just chatting shit, and then they've gone, oh yeah, and I'll tell you what would happen is the rich people would have a boat. I think how I'd do it is I'd like have a boat of like billionaires who've bought a ticket. And then there'd be a boat of like scientists and how logically you'd want to continue the race. Mm-hmm. And the one with the billionaires with Kim Kardashian would get blown up.
Yeah.
And that would be my message to the world.
I thought of like a more it's an interesting message. I thought of a more interesting way of doing it would be that basically that the world hadn't agreed and that everyone had a kind of different idea about how to deal with it.
Oh, that would
and it was because that's actually how it would happen.
Yeah, totally. And then it wouldn't
be made in fucking China.
No.
Yeah, trying to get everyone to work together to make these things would not happen.
No, totally not. No.
Whilst it also ripping most people off.
Yeah,
it wouldn't happen. I'm pretty sure America would just go its own way.
I'd say the one good thing it had for me, and I think it's literally the only good thing, was I liked the fact they kept teasing the Ark without showing them. And when they showed up, it was crap. But I loved that. I did enjoy that sort of, there are Arks here somewhere. You're like,
I did like how there was like multiple ones of them. It didn't make any sense. It's like kind of splits the stakes a little bit. And then the story all comes down to like a fucking propeller on one of them. We go from this large idea of a planet all the way down to a technical issue with a boat.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand that sort of level of fall down.
But also, don't you think if they had all that time to prepare for it, couldn't they have got more boats built that could sustain life than 6 boats?
Yeah, totally.
It just seems like, not the best way to go about it in general.
It's a strange thing.
It's just a whole film of people just basically regretting stuff, isn't it? Because all Danny Glover does is just go, when my wife died, she said I should have done a lottery. It's so terrible. I wish I'd done a lottery now. I'm coming, Barbara. He does that, doesn't he, when he dies? It's like,
I wish you'd done the lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
also,
I like the guy who ends up...
He's too old to be acting, I think, isn't he?
He is, but
he's not a president who could walk like that.
No, but he's
by the end, was he?
He could have been a good president. Like, I'm sad that we've used Danny Glover as president in this film. I think a film with Danny
20
Glover
years previously, he could have been.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he totters onto the screen. He's like barely walking. You think no one would have any confidence in this president. He's like tottering on his side as he sits down.
Yeah,
it just seems like very bad. Even though it's all scientifically absolute garbage, the whole problem. The problem at the beginning is is a terrible issue.
Yeah.
Like, why don't they do? Obviously, there must have been loads. We'd already had loads of asteroids and that sort of thing films, haven't we? So
yeah, let's come up with something different.
The only thing they can do now is literally the world decides of its own account to blow itself up.
Yeah. I think it's quite telling as well. We've talked about this for probably 10-15 minutes now, not even mentioned the main character of John Cusack, who is I mean, I don't really like John Cusack anyway, but horribly miscast. His character really doesn't really make much sense at all.
No.
He's only sold 200 copies of his book, and yet one of the people he meets as a main character bought one of 200 copies.
Do you know? Did you notice who his character's name? Did you know it was an homage to?
What was the name?
His character's name?
His name's Jackson Curtis. Sam should know this.
Yes, no, because did we watch it recently? What was the film with Jackson in it?
It's someone famous. Sam should know this because he's the star of one of your favourite computer games.
Oh, I don't know then.
It's 50 Cent. Curtis Jackson.
Oh, Curtis
That's his
Jackson,
real name.
Yeah.
Roland Emmerich is a big fan of rapper 50 Cent and wanted to name his lead character after him, allegedly.
Do you know what I was thinking of? Wasn't James Spader called Jackson in Stargate?
Oh, yeah, he is called something. Jackson.
Not named after him.
No, he's called Daniel Jackson. Maybe it's his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why Roland Emmerich couldn't just give 50 Cent a role in the film rather than just reverse naming a white character after him.
And a very sort of doughy, past his prime John Cusack, who's...
Yep.
They're going for that Spielberg broken home thing, but he kind of is. You can see why she left him, can't you?
Well, yeah, it's
and
just
really,
it's just terrible.
Her new husband is he seems all right, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he clearly loves her, loves the kids. He's doing all right.
He can fly planes somehow, even though he says he can't, and then somehow manages.
It's another thing where the story's kind of asked backwards because it's the redemption arc for Cusack makes no sense because that guy sacrificed himself, and really Cusack should sacrifice himself, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
So that guy can go on living because he realised, actually she's really happy with her new husband.
Yeah.
No, he's going to die. He gets squished in a big wheel.
Oh yeah, it's a bad death actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Woody Harrelson. I enjoyed Woody.
Yeah,
he's the best thing about it, probably, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's always.
I like these fringe characters that they have in these films, It's the crop dusting guy in Independence Day.
Yeah.
I don't like him so much. I'm glad he dies.
No.
But I liked Woody Harrelson in this. It's very good. That was a perfect piece of casting. But, they got that one right.
Yeah.
Mm. Even the main guy in Stargate, the scientist, was kind of a fringe scientist, wasn't he? Because he was saying the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids. And they were like, who did?
Yeah.
I don't know. Aliens.
I liked Oliver Platt as well. Oliver Platt, I think, does good work in anything, really. He's kind of...
Yeah.
He's, sneering up. He's not got much to work with, has he? But he's all right.
I'm just looking at the characters of this film, of 2012. There'd be no film where you have... director of the Louvre, Buddhist monk.
Oh, that was really
Governor
weird.
of California.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Queen.
Oh, yeah. No, that bit was really weird because the director of the Louvre, dies in the same tunnel as Diana, and then they overtly say it. Oh, killed in the same... And then they start going on about conspiracy theories.
Car bomb by the US government.
Yeah. But that was like... Was that Emmerich saying that basically she died because she knew about the arcs?
I think that's
it. Yeah. He's basically saying that her death was not, I think
Al Fayed had bought some tickets on the arc.
Definitely.
Hell
She's
yeah.
not coming.
No, that was really odd, that bit. I thought that was a really weird kind of aside. Let me just put my conspiracy theories in here for you, in the middle of my massive film.
The Buddhist monk who says a parable I didn't really follow about when that kid's like, oh, the world's ending. What does he say? Something about, I can't remember what it was now. Something didn't make a lot of sense. Then gives him some car keys. I was like, what's going on? Also, that car's got more than one seat. Go and get in the car.
Yeah.
The monk's like, oh, I'll just stay.
Yeah.
Very strange.
No, it was a dumb, stupid film, and it was offensive. And it is all Independence Day's fault, but still.
Yeah. Okay, let's rank it. Not much more to say, is there really? Anything else?
No.
Chris, you got anything else to say about that? There's not much, is there really?
No.
I
didn't like any of the procedural. I didn't like anything.
No, it's bad procedural in this, wasn't it? It was a mess.
Yeah.
I do like the guy who ends up being the boss. Like, what's he? Defense Minister or something?
Yeah, Oliver Platt. Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's all right. I think... I don't know where this goes. It's really bad. Someone else
47. 47.
It's lower than that.
Really? Okay.
I think it was worse than Armageddon. I really didn't like Armageddon, but I think it's worse than Armageddon.
I'd put it just above the defensive shit. Like, 53 or something.
I think because it's... I think you shouldn't show that to people because it's got some really weird views about the world and how it works.
Yeah.
So I think it should be... I think like 53, one below the Martian.
Yeah, 53.
Yeah, that's what Chris said. Yeah, okay, cool. Then 53 it is. 53 it is.
One below the Martian.
Yeah, it's needed to sort itself out. Yeah, I think it's...
It did, didn't it, really? Yeah.
Bad stuff.
Not only one of these films, you need to... The message needs to be pulled together, right?
I don't know. I don't necessarily... If it's a big film, it needs some sort of big thing, doesn't it, I suppose? But it's... And I think in that trailer we watched, you can tell they were clearly trying to do something clever, weren't they? They were trying really hard to find some sort of new angle on all this sort of stuff and just couldn't pull it off in any way. But
No.
So, we are now up to 60 films in the list. It's been an interesting week, really. We've got Independence Day at 24, Stargate at 45, and 2012 at 53. That's a lot of numbers. Right, so next week, it's getting close to Christmas, and we're getting ready for the release of Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which I personally am very excited about. Although I do worry that this is peak Star Wars for me, and that because they've announced so much more, it's like, I think, Chris, you're a bit jaded to it now, aren't you? I think you've sort of...
I am to this current trilogy because I just didn't like the last one at all.
Yeah,
but I did like the spin-off film.
You did like Rogue One, didn't you?
So.
But no, I just feel that, like, because Han Solo's out in 6 months, isn't it, something? And I think that this is the last point I'll get really genuinely excited. Because it still feels like, oh my god, there's a Star Wars film coming out,
Yeah.
And that feeling's going to go, isn't it?
I mean, it's always good news just to have more Star Wars to look at. But
but you know what I mean? Like, kind of like that buzz of like, oh god, there's new... That's when Phantom Menace came out, that kind of like, oh god, there's new...
Yeah.
That's going to go after this one, I believe.
Yeah.
Anyway, because that's coming out, we're going to revisit another of our pilot episode films and go right back to the start of the saga to Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. And two films that are kind of rip-offs of that in the following year, because everyone else has just done everything else, so let's do that. No one's watched those films in a while. So, right, so before that, where can everyone find us? I don't know.
On Instagram.
sciencefictionratingsystem.com for the list. And we'll check out the list. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think now, if you actually just put Science Fiction Rating System into Google, you get all the relevant links.
Oh,
so
we're out there. Find us.
Hell
also we've got links. We've got links in the show notes for this as well. So
always just do review.
Oh yes, 5 stars on iTunes. That's the thing to do.
Yeah.
Please 5 stars on iTunes.
Or email us with some suggestions for films.
Yeah. Or and write your suggestions in the review, maybe, or just give us your favourite 3, maybe. Do what you like.
Any thoughts on Independence Day?
Yeah, we can start saying that again.
I mean, we've got our rewatch show next year, and me and Chris have already chosen our films, but Alex, you haven't chosen a film yet, so maybe he'll choose Independence Day. That time.
No.
That wound will never heal.
Yeah. Right, so for now, I think that's it. See you next week. Goodbye.
Bye!
Cheerio.